guys, hey, and welcome back to the Gulf Coast Growth Show. I'm your host, Jason Lee, and I am joined today with Jeff Nielsen, President of the Association of Builders and Contractors. Jeff, we are just great to have you on today. Excited. I know we've been trying to get you on here for a while.
Yeah, happy to be here, Jason. Thank you so much for having me on. I know I was supposed to come up here earlier, but I found COVID.
Yeah, you found COVID.
COVID.
Eventually, it'll find you, right? So, and that's just how that seems to be. Now, if you're wondering, Jeff, President, so you guys have probably seen Russell Hamley on our show before. He was president of ABC.
He was.
Recently retired, so again, a big thank you. If Russell comes across the show, thank you for your service of the organization, and a big welcome to the new president. So we're glad to have you. We're going to tackle a couple of topics today, just kind of a refresher, maybe a background on Jeff and his role, and what makes him the right guy for the job. We're going to highlight some of the work that ABC is doing, the importance of political action inside of the industry and inside of construction, and tackle a few critical topics that are just big things in the construction space today. And then if we have any additional time, we'll dive in a little bit more into Jeff's experience. So with that being said, I think you're really a great guy to follow in the footsteps of Russell, based on what I've heard, and maybe you can help enlighten the rest of our audience. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up here at ABC.
Happy to, and thank you for recognizing Russell. Russell did a great job. I was really happy. I was able to have him in the office for 3 months and learned a lot from him. It was great to have his insight. He was with them for 26 years, so it was nice to be able to kind of pick up, have that mentorship, basically, as it was. For me, prior to coming to ABC, I was the executive director for the Houston Contractors Association. Basically, I led that organization. They're a civil construction industry representative group, local only. But so my members there basically did roads, bridges, water, sewer, things of that nature. But the primary, the owners were the city, the county, the state. Actually, and some of their issues it's very similar to industrial construction, self-performing a lot. I think it's about 80-20 as far as self-perform versus subcontract out. Good organization, liked them a lot, pretty conservative bunch, and they taught me a lot, and prepared me for this position I have now. And then before that, I was in politics. I've worked for 3 different council members over in the city of Houston, both sides of the aisle. I've worked several campaigns. Started off my career as a volunteer for Mayor Bob Lanier's campaign back in, was it 90, 91?
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Wow.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
It was way back in the day. I ended up, I enjoyed, that was my first campaign, cut my teeth on that. Started off licking stamps and stuffing envelopes, and by the end of it, I had written, I would say, probably about 1 in 5 position papers that the mayor would talk about during his debates.
Oh, wow!
Was written by me. So things like neighborhoods to standards, the police Crescent report issues, things of that. That's probably also dated. It's not funny anymore, but that's how I started off. I've been in politics the whole time. Graduated from University of Houston, 1990, with Bachelor of Science in Political Science, and have been working in politics ever since.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they don't, I think they perhaps see politics as it's seen on the news and as on the TV.
Yeah.
And they don't really see the critical nature and importance of organizations, not only like the Economic Alliance, but ABC, and the relationship on really a nonpartisan approach to ensuring that there is collaboration both with the contractor community, the industrial community. So what's actually happened with owners, operators, people that are in this market, and then how do they impact the economy, and then how do politicians play a role in that? So having a political background and being actively involved in politics in your local region is critical. So I just want to remind everybody that's watching the show, it's not just bickering and fighting on the news. It's real people coming together, trying to create solutions for the area and for industry. So talk to us a little bit about that. So we want to talk a little bit today about, I guess, the political action side of ABC and some of the work that you guys do.
Well, and thank you for saying that, because, amen to everything you just said. ABC's, at least the ABC PAC has a saying, which is, get into politics or get out of business. And that may sound a little
tough, but it's more true than you'd believe. Politics affects every aspect, especially on the business end. When you open your own business and get out there, get away from being just the employee, you really do see how some of these, the city ordinances, the state statutes, and even federal regulations can come into play on how they affect how you can do your business. And so you have to pay attention to that information. So being politically active, even at just a minimal level, really does benefit you. So you see these things before they just all of a sudden are there. If you don't know what's coming, you can't. If you don't know what's coming, you can't get ready for it. Some of the things you may want to go up against, you may want to oppose. I mean, we have elected officials in place for a reason. They're responsible to reporting to you. So if there's something that's coming down, what's the old saying? In Texas, the most dangerous time in Texas is the 3 months when the legislature is in session every 2 years.
Yep.
There's some stuff that goes through in there that, if you're not watching it, or if you're not with an organization that's paying attention to what's going on, it can have a drastic impact on how your business is affected. So it's important to get out there. Yeah, you need to vote, but you also need to at least have an understanding of, if at least business, the business sense of what politically is happening in your business realm that could possibly affect you.
Absolutely, and while again, going back to kind of the nonpartisan discussion, this organization lies in that way, but it's critical for people to understand, regardless of where you stand on it. If you're not involved and you don't understand, or you're not getting the truth, or not seeking wisdom from those that are stepping into office, I can tell you personally, some of the best value that I've gained for the 3 years of being here at the Economic Alliance, and also a member at ABC, is sitting in meetings where the politicians come and but articulate their case for what they're trying to solve, and they get grilled. They get questions from owners, operators, who are asking them, how are you going to help impact my employee populace, the people that work for me, help me create jobs? How are you going to help me do these things? And I think getting to see them in the hot seat and see that, and not see them up there with a canned speech or a canned thing, really does open your eyes to some of the things that are important. So again, just a plug as to why it's important to get involved. Speaking of that, I know you've spent the majority of your life, right, working in some type of local organization.
Yeah.
And I consider it service, right, because you're serving the local community, you're serving the contractor community, or the community that's a part of that organization. I know here at the Economic Alliance, we serve this entire region.
Yes.
And I would argue that it is a service job, but it's also something that I always tell our members, it's not about stroking a check and saying you're a member and having your name on the member directory, but it's about getting involved. Can you talk to us about the importance of really plugging in, and what and how plugging into your local industry associations can make a difference for your company?
Well, for
a person, right, involved in the business?
Well, I mean, in general, the associations are there to represent your interests when you can't be there to do that. I mean, look, all the guys that we deal with, whether it's the owners, the operators, the contractors, whether it's industrial or whether it's commercial or civil, y'all have businesses to run. Your job isn't to, I mean, yeah, you can come out and go to like some Ledge Fest things, or so, if you want to go, attend some hearings in Austin, that's great. We'd love to have you in there. It really does help. Your input in like some of these, open sessions and presentations is great, and the legislators need to hear that input. But your primary interest is your business. I mean, without your business, you can't come play in Austin, and so what the role of the association is to kind of fill in that gap for you as a company owner. Join the association, let us represent you. We'll go down to Austin, to DC, wherever it is we need to go, represent the industry as a whole, fight for what's best for our industry. Basically, in my opinion, it's keeping government out of your hair. It's making sure you have the right to hire who you want to hire, work when you want to work, pay what you need to be able to pay to keep good employees, make sure that there's guidances in place to treat your employees right. provide a good service to the people you're working for, and in the right to earn a little bit of profit while you're at it.
There you go.
You know, that's my approach. That's our approach at ABC. But for the members that join in, the real benefit is we got your back. We're watching this stuff where you can't watch it because you're busy. You're busy doing what you do.
Yep. And I would argue that as a member, I can give my testimony would say absolutely right. I don't have time to keep up with everything that's going on, but because I show up to different committee meetings, it's almost like it's a cheat sheet or synopsis of what's taking place while you guys are getting in the trenches and weeding through all the stuff that's not relevant and the things that are going to impact our business. Like I tell my clients, your business is my business, and so I need to understand from my clients when I have a contractor who's trying to grow his business and it's part of his legacy and he wants to pass it on to his kids. The success of what happens inside of that, I need to understand what's going on in Austin or in Washington that's going to have an impact on his future,
Yeah, 100%.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some of the critical construction topics that are kind of just big items that maybe you're paying attention to and that the organization's looking at.
Well, I made a cheat sheet. So.
Okay, hey, use your cheat sheet. Yeah, absolutely.
So some of the big stuff as far as what's hanging out there, I did notice there was an article that came out just recently. It talked about the dike. So for the all the plants and refineries down the ship channel and the coast area. That's a big thing. It's a multi-billion-dollar project that the Army Corps of Engineers putting through. It's basically big dirt berms on most of it. We've got gates in the Galveston Bay they're going to be putting in. It's a massive project, but it actually just cleared one of its hurdles here recently. So funding is moving forward. Probably not going to be anything. We're not going to see anything happen for 10 years on that probably, but it's something to keep an eye on, and it is moving forward. And it's important to the region. I guess one of the other things I was looking at as far as down here is the Lindale Basel plant. I was kind of concerned originally seeing that they were slated to close up that plant in the ship channel. I think it was December 2023. That's a lot of jobs that would be going away, but there was something that came out just last week, I think it was, that said that they're seriously looking about repurposing that plant, turning it into a plastic recycling facility. Don't know much about it. I hope they do that because I'd love to see those jobs stay there. I'd hate to see that facility just sitting there idle.
Yep.
Personally, I don't see how you get out of the oil refining business when I think their second quarter profits were $418 million just for one quarter. But they're a multi national organization. They have bigger issues than I can consider. So I understand that, but I really do hope they move forward with that recycling plant. Keep those jobs in place. Keep that plant operating and moving, and keeping our members employed down here.
We have our fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, I was very hopeful when I saw that come out. Other than that, like ABC, we're really working on. It's called Workforce Solution, or not, sorry, that's the organization we're working with. It's the Work Smart program or Hire Smart program. It is an employment program that we're working with. Basically what it is, there's funds that are available through the government, trickle through a couple of different programs, but what we do at ABC is we help put employees together, or workers together with employers. Okay, so
Gotcha.
you come in and say, okay, hey, I found these two guys, I want to hire them. Or I'm looking for a couple of people. There's a couple of different pots of money that we can go into, and we do some job fairs, things like that to help promote this up. But so there's some of the areas we're trying to reach into there's a youth aspect of it. There is a dislocated worker, which basically anyone that's gotten laid off or can't find a job. There's a veteran aspect to it. The idea is basically reaching into some of these disenfranchised neighborhoods or areas or places where we haven't really gone into before, and trying to get these people into construction as a career.
Nice.
And the best thing about it, so say you find two guys, you bring them to me, so we want to hire these two guys. We run them through the program. We can get them approved for funding, most likely as long as they meet a couple of basic criteria. Once they do that, we can move them into training. They don't have to have any background in construction whatsoever. We can move them into training,
They get OSHA, they get CORE and NCCR training. We bring them back to you. All the training's paid for through this government program.
Wow.
And then we bring them back to you. You take them, put them to work, and the carrot for the employer to use this program is that you get reimbursed up to 50% of their wages for the first 400 hours. So,
oh, wow.
So basically, you get an employee for half price for 6 months, I think is what it is. And if they don't work out, if there's a problem, it just doesn't mesh up, you can drop them. There's obviously some paperwork involved because this is a federal
Right.
grant program that they're doing, so you got to track it. But you can let them go, and it's no skin off your nose. There's no penalties involved with it. You don't have to keep them for the full time. It's a really neat program. We're working it. We just basically started up. I probably got about 8 companies so far signed
Okay.
up through ABC that's participated in it. But once it took a little while to learn, but once we've gotten it up and running, it's starting to pick up steam, and I think it's going to be a great program.
So for our audience, what do you guys need? Do you need us to spread the word that to people who would be looking for career opportunities about this program, or also contractors or business owners or operators to come along beside you and help support the program, or both?
Little of both.
Okay.
Little of both, because it's obviously this is a federal grant program that comes out. With
Right.
any federal program like that, there is going to be strings attached to it. So there's some on the front end. We have to get the companies registered up and get them approved. Through the steps so that they can start receiving these funds. Once the
Gotcha.
companies are certified, then we can move on to the next step, which is the employees. But we're always looking for employees to come into it, whether we can get, whether we run through this program or not. If you're watching this and you're interested in working in construction, come see me. We can get you a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's been a thing we've been saying for a long time, is workforce development and creating jobs in the construction, industrial manufacturing space.
Right.
That we just can't get enough people.
No.
I said this earlier on a show earlier, but I was reading this past week as we kind of entered recessionary a season. They said it's a white collar recession. There's no such thing as a blue-collar one going forward, because blue-collar jobs are at such a high demand. So regardless of what they're seeing out there, they expect to see more. If you can turn a wrench, if you can weld, if you can get in and get dirty, and you're not afraid to work in that space, and you were to come alongside somebody like this organization and try to find an opportunity, there will be jobs, because there's a backlog of work that's needed, and on top of that backlog, there are just not enough people to get the job done.
100% agree with that. I think, construction hasn't done itself any favors as far as marketing. I mean, we're catching up now.
Right.
Okay, we're catching up now. We kind of realize this. I think there was a position held by a lot of people, basically in all construction, whatever discipline it was in, is that, I just hang a sign on the wall, and employees will, people will show up and want to come work. And that's not the case anymore. And we're having to kind of reevaluate how we get employees, where we need to be reaching out to them. We've been doing this probably over the last 10, 15 years. I think it's been a growing outreach into some of these different areas. But, construction's one of these areas. It's the baby boomers are dying off. Your knowledge base is dying off. We went through that whole everyone wants to go to college phase. Well, that wasn't the best idea for you can make a hell of a living in trades.
Right.
We didn't market that right. And now we're like, oh crap, we need to catch up. And you're seeing that starting to happen. But we're still on the back end of that curve.
Fantastic. Well, good to see that we're moving in the right direction. Speaking of that, you guys have an organization right around the corner from us, right down the street, that plays a significant role in workforce development. Tell us a little bit about CMEF.
Well, CMEF is basically our workforce training arm of ABC. They work really well. Since they're down here, they're in LaPorte actually, is where they're located. But since they're down here in the Ship Channel area, they work primarily with on the industrial side. We do get some of the commercial construction come down, but it's mainly industrial. And what they do is they specialize in giving the employees the training that they need to either work at the sites that they need to work on, give them that next step up, whether they're trying to get a higher certification, become a higher level of a welder or pipe fitter, wheelwright, whatever it is that they're doing.
Yep.
That's what that organization is set up for. Typically, the employers will pay for them to come through, though that's not always the case. We have a full range of classes that they teach. I wish I knew more about it since I've been learning it too.
No,
That's one of the aspects, that I've had to really kind of pick up and run is the educational end of it. I didn't realize there was. I mean, we do a lot on education in ABC, a whole lot. Whether it's doing educational classes for the CEO levels, or whether it's for the foreman, or the general laborers. We have a lot of classes out there that I wasn't aware we did. And so I've really been kind of struggling. It's like, okay, tell me what this is. All right, teach me about this. Why are we doing this over here? So it's...
Well, we'll give you a pass.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You guys are, and that's enough info, because really at the end of the day, it's just to, again, highlight the highlights, which is we have... not only this organization, we just spoke to Brenda Hellier from San Jack College, but you have kind of a unified body between your ABC, Economic Alliance, multiple chambers, all of these people coming together with one central focus, which is let's create jobs, let's create opportunities, let's educate our member base on what we need and how we're going to fight for them, and how do we serve them. Now let's pivot real quick as we kind of get ready to wrap up the show. I know you're again, kind of, we talked a little bit about your background, but can you highlight anything specifically that you wanted to recognize as far as things that have had I guess an impact in your career and kind of led you to this place?
Oh wow! Well, I mean, I've actually been kind of blessed with this. It's construction is something it fit well with me and kind of my morals and the way I look at life. Contractors are generally, they're pretty modern. I mean, they're more conservative in nature. They're they don't like big government. From what I've found so far, generally they're kind of family men, and they're God-fearing. All of those things are what I believe in very heavily. So when I moved into ABC, I was like, man, I found my home. It's like, I love this place. It's comfortable, because the people I'm dealing with, the organization's goals, their visions, all align with all those topics I kind of laid out. And I got those things from. And I kind of wandered off course a little bit, but my dad was a civil engineer, so and he was part owner of Miller Engineers, which was one of the largest local civil engineering firms in the town for a long time. He's since retired about 15 years ago, but I grew up around drafting tables and plans, and I went through high school thinking I could do that too. I can still draw you a three-dimensional view of something.
There you go.
But me and math aren't the best of friends, so it was best I move on to a different career. But that experience, and my dad was kind of a car guy. I kind of picked that up, so it's like I got an 82 Vet sitting in the garage that I get in and tinker with every now and then.
Nice. I
got a mechanical mind. I like how things work. I like tearing stuff apart. So it kind of naturally led me into the construction business. 20 years on the civil end. And it was just kind of a natural fit. Everything kind of flowed together to bring me to where I need to be. And
that's awesome. There's a book called Outliers by a guy named Malcolm Gladwell, which talks about all of that and how your positioning in life ultimately God will end up placing you where you were really kind of designed to be. And it sounds like from your background, you're a great fit for that. And I do want to recognize that, because you mentioned this about the contractor community, but that's industrial manufacturing. But the beauty of this region, the beauty of the people inside this region, I get dressed up in fancy suits every day because my client base ranges from doctors to lawyers to but then guys that are down the street from here that are in boots and work jeans all day long. And I would say this about them. You were spot on. We're talking about the salt of the earth. We're talking about people who genuinely care. genuinely will go out of their way to serve their employees, their people, their community, and they're willing to step up. So, and I think it's going to be a great fit for you. So we're excited to have you.
I'm happy to be here. Like I said, and I agree with everything you just said. Some of the best people I've ever met have been in construction, and heck, if you just look at them, you wouldn't know it. The average guy driving on the road, they don't understand what it takes for the average person living in the city doesn't understand what it takes to give them the comforts that they enjoy.
Right.
Whether it's the refining down here, producing the chemicals that make the plastics and the hairsprays and the dyes and the clothing and all the things they need, or whether it's the guy that's building that building, the guy fixing the air conditioning that keeps you cool in these hot. Houston's not the coolest place to be. There is so much that's involved to it. Even on the civil end, getting water in the house and the other stuff out. Everyone just takes it for granted.
And it's all one big giant orchestration going on behind the scenes to make it happen.
And these guys just do it.
You know, I saw I follow a lot of my clients and friends and peers that are in the construction space now. And the other day I saw a post, and when I woke up in the morning, and it was on LinkedIn, and I was checking my LinkedIn, and I wake up early. It's 4:45, and there was a post that was out at 3:30 in the morning from a crew, and they were pouring concrete, and it's just goes to show you the kind of work ethic and the things that these guys have, and because why? They had to get the job done.
Yeah.
So, and so with that being said, Jeff, we really do appreciate you coming on the show. I think you've been, again, a great addition to ABC, been a great addition to our audience today. And is there anything else that you want to highlight before we wrap up?
Oh, I guess I better. No man does it by himself.
Right.
I need to recognize, I got a great staff behind me at ABC that backs me up and supports me on that stuff. I need to give a shout out to them. Give honor to God where it's deserved, because without him I wouldn't have any of this. Michael Richter down at CMEF. If I don't drop him in there, he'll get mad at me, because he's the one that does all the hard work down for the training classes.
Michael does a great job.
He does a great job.
Yep. Second best dressed guy at ABC next to me.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure he hears that on the.
I'll send him the link. Make sure he gets that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it. I mean, just I always try to make sure recognize the people that are behind you. Nobody, I am blessed to be where I'm at, but I didn't get here alone. I thank everybody that helped me, and that's multiple people over my entire life. And I've always told my kids and anyone that'll listen, it's like, never burn a bridge. You never know when those people are going to come back. I guarantee you, every bridge you burn, that person will be back in your life over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Pay it forward. You never know who you're helping that you're going to need to help you in the future, and always remember to recognize people around you, because you didn't do it by yourself.
Awesome, man. Well, you did a good job highlighting your team, and you're spot on. That team over there,
I got a great
from
team.
bottom to top, is pretty freaking amazing.
I got a great team.
So with that, gang, we are wrapping up this week's episode. As always, you can always check in and follow us through allianceportregion.com. You can get connected to our website. There's a media tab there where you can subscribe to our channels. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify, wherever you want to follow the show and stay tuned in. You can reach out to me directly if you have opportunities, questions, you want to get plugged in, or you can also reach out to Jeff through the ABC here in Houston. It's Association of Builders and Contractors. Stay connected to them, and we'll see you guys next week.